What's going on there, Reject Nation? The Batman comes out so soon. With that, we have a new clip and a TV spot. First one is with Bruce Wayne and Alfred that Andy Serkis debuted on Good Morning America, and a TV spot called It Is Time. Drop them both in the Final Cut. Gonna watch them back to back. Leave a like, that'd be very much appreciated, and keep a lookout for our Batman review. I think we're gonna get an early screening, not confirmed yet. Hopefully we'll have one up by Monday, a review that is. Let's get to it.
Our accounting friends at Wayne Enterprises are coming for breakfast.
Here? Why?
Because I couldn't get you to go there.
I haven't got time for this.
It's getting serious, Bruce. If this continues, it won't be long before you've nothing left.
I don't care about that. Any of that.
You don't care about your family's legacy?
What I'm doing is my family's legacy.
It is time. The day of judgment is finally upon us.
If this continues, it won't be long before you've nothing left.
You'll see.
Actually watching them both back to back. Quite complimentary.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what Alfred's trying to warn you about.
No, Bruce, listen. If anybody knows the Waynes, it's Alfred.
It's interesting hearing Robert Pattinson's voice in that scene. There's a bit of that like soft menace to the way he speaks as you're just watching him as Bruce Wayne in that moment. Obviously, with everything we've heard about with this being year 2 of Batman, that he's still at that crossroads in his life where Bruce Wayne essentially just only wants to be Batman. It's kind of cool hearing like the voice. It complements really well with his voice that we've heard when he's just Batman. Like, it doesn't sound like he's doing such a shift. It's actually sound like the same person.
I mean, he was talking about, and I know that in the quote he says like, it wasn't that great of an idea that I was doing this, but he talked about doing like the whispery approach to the Batman voice, and I feel like some of that probably made its way at least into Bruce Wayne, because he seems like a sort of reserved, not uncomfortable guy, but a guy who clearly is very internal and lives very internally.
Yeah, and then watching this clip, I mean, it seems to just really capture at least like everything that we've heard Andy Serkis talk about publicly with this portrayal of Alfred. Like, it's going to be borrowing from the comics, and this is what Andy Serkis talked about. I'm not talking any leaks or anything. I'm talking about public information here. Like how this version of Alfred will definitely be a person who's like a former soldier, perhaps somewhere in the Secret Service at some point in his life, eventually to become a security officer for Thomas Wayne. I remember the Batman prequel novel, but I think some of that's explored in that novel. Then eventually finds his way to being the butler and then surrogate father now to Bruce Wayne. And then you see here in this one clip, just in this like 20 seconds alone, that strain in their relationship, those odds that they are supposedly at in this movie. Alfred is, he's not equipped to be a father figure, especially one in a situation like this where Bruce Wayne is really headstrong to be this vigilante for the world of Gotham, and he's trying to keep the Wayne legacy alive the way how Alfred experienced the Wayne legacy, Thomas Wayne especially with his close relationship with him, and then Bruce Wayne wanting nothing to do with that, watching how they're pulling away at each other. So I like that we're going to capture them at a different point than what we're used to with the movies. Like, I'm a big fan of the Gotham show. In that series, Alfred Pennyworth, I haven't seen any of the prequel series that's on FX, but at least in the Gotham show that was on Fox, that was the Alfred that we sort of had. It was the character who had the military background in that relationship and taught Bruce how to fight, and then had to be a father figure for him and a mentor of sorts. And now we're seeing that on display here, but where he's actually Batman, and watching that divide happen between them, which is very different than what we normally get with the live action films, where he's, other than like down the line with like Dark Knight Rises or something, where Alfred is remarkably supportive and remarkably helpful.
Well, yeah, it's the difference between, it's like there's friction occasionally with the other on-screen Alfreds, but here it feels like there will be a direct tension and friction between them, as it seems like, at least in this clip, Alfred has maybe a greater view of the whole scope of the picture of both Bruce, the Wayne legacy, how this all fits into Gotham, the business side of the, Wayne Enterprises that they still technically have to deal with. And yeah, that abandon coming from Bruce of like, I don't even care about that stuff, I just want to focus on this. And Alfred's sort of alluding to the idea that you kind of have to play both sides, you have to rise to both occasions and find a way to use both personae, because you can't just leave one by the wayside, especially when, you know, like the Wayne legacy is a big part of what allows you to Batman.
Yeah.
The investors or the financiers or whoever from Wayne Enterprises, you know, like I don't know if they'll make as big a deal out of them specifically in this movie, but I do have to imagine that, yeah, that'll lead to some significant tension. And yeah, I just like that you do get the sense that he is the surrogate mentor, at least, rather than the accomplice, or rather than the guy who's like, yeah, you know, like you said, you know, kind of always supportive, always like, yes, Bruce, until there's like a particular moment of emotional anguish where he needs that extra ounce of guidance. I feel like Alfred will kind of be here as almost a foil throughout for Bruce to continue encouraging him to grow.
It's cool seeing just this little clip, because already there you can feel two great actors providing history within their performances. Like, I know we were talking about Robert Pattinson's voice at first, harkening towards what we've heard him do when he's in the Batman suit, but there's also this other side of me that kind of interpreted it as like a child. You're watching like the boy Bruce Wayne in that moment, talking with like, you're not my dad.
Yeah, it's a little petulant. Yeah.
And I like seeing Alfred as this sort of like war-torn figure, because every time we see Alfred, he usually seems like he's got his shit together. He knows how to handle this Bruce Wayne stuff.
Calm and comfortable when Alfred's here.
Yeah. He's really confident. And then here, I like how distraught he is over this whole situation. He's trying to talk to Bruce Wayne, who is essentially inherited him as his own son, and here he is just with like this sweaty eye makeup from taking off the cowl and trying to just have a real conversation with him. What's good about the scene is you could tell that they're trying not, at least Alfred is trying not to fight. But it's coming out of him regardless.
I gotta be strong, and we have to talk about this, but I don't want to push you into some kind of direct conflict. It seems like anything with Bruce will be volatile.
And then talking about, you know, the Wayne legacy, and then funny enough, like I didn't see this coming, to combine it with the TV spot. We were hearing about Wayne legacy, and we've seen the trailers, you know, explore plenty about how this will uncover probably perhaps some of the corrupt dealings that maybe Thomas Wayne divulged in just a little bit. That's at least the impression that we've all been getting. So watching him, Bruce Wayne, think like, I am doing this in honor of my family. This is why I'm doing this. I am on this vengeance quest because my family was murdered. And then now that Wayne legacy is really going to be challenged by the likes of someone such as the Riddler.
Yes. It's like you're acting out of the motivation given by their death, but what did their life stand for, and what don't you want to acknowledge about that, perhaps?
Yeah, and I think that makes for some real powerful storytelling. I just feel like this is going to be a really rich film.
I know!
I'm
so excited.
I just can't wait for it.
It's going to be cinema.
I can't believe we're going to see this so soon. So soon we're going to see this. Guys, leave your thoughts down below. What did you think about this Batman clip? Did you already get your tickets? Are you going IMAX, Dolby Cinema, 3D? I don't think that exists for this.
4DX.
4DX. 3 hours of drama.
Yeah, whoa,
look at them
so
fighting.
resonant.
All right, guys. Thanks for being here. We'll talk to you all soon.